Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge Systems and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India, and it offers examination coaching for UPSC CSE, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examinations. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I take up international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session is in regards to the daily news analysis, that is DNA of the Hindu newspaper of today's, that is 11th of January 2021. And this session will be useful for you because I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the Hindu newspaper, wherein we will identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be useful for the UPSC preliminary examinations. And while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your short notes for your answers for mains examinations, your mains answers would be precise and concise and you would score higher marks in the mains examinations. So therefore, this session, that is the DNA of AKS IAS Academy, will help you to crack prelims and mains of 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we will focus or look at the quote of the day. And quote of the day is, don't watch the clock, do what it does. So you need to make sure that the watch keeps on going, and we need to also keep on going rather than just looking at the clock to achieve success and to have the short term and long term goals to be a successful one. And the newspaper, that is today's Hindu newspaper, we have the government which is talking about the relaxation of the detention norms. So according to the education ministry, and the education ministry has directed or given a direction on January 10, 2021, saying that schools must relax the detention norms. The reason why the schools have to relax the detention norms is to make sure that it prevents the dropouts in the year 2020-2021, wherein the country or the nation has experienced the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, it has disrupted the teaching and learning process. Because of that, the education ministry has given a direction or directive to the schools to relax the detention norms. So the keyword here is relaxing the detention norms to prevent the dropouts. And the ministry has also told various states or to all the states to conduct a comprehensive door-to-door survey. So the keyword here is conducting a comprehensive door-to-door survey, so that this survey will identify the children who are out of the schools in the age group of 16 to 18 years, especially the migrant students also. And by going ahead or conducting the comprehensive door-to-door survey, they would, or else the ministry would prepare an action plan to prevent an increased dropout, so that the action plan through the comprehensive door-to-door survey will prevent for increasing of dropouts, and it will also lower the enrollments and also the loss of learning and any kind of deterioration in the gains made in providing universal access to the education, quality education and equity educations in the recent years, wherein the Indian government or else the education ministry has taken up. So the comprehensive door-to-door survey would prepare an action plan to prevent increased dropouts, lower enrollments, loss of learning and deterioration in the gains which we have made by providing universal education access, education quality and also equity in education. And now we will focus at the what is the uniform access, whether there is uniform access. But it says that there is no uniform access of the education system during the COVID-19 pandemic situation, that is in the academic year of 2020 and 2021. So many or some of them have access to the online classes, but the majority of them have the access to the classes by televised classes, WhatsApp teaching, and learning on their own. But if we look at globally, the United Nations has estimated that 24 million school age children between 6 to 18 are at risk of dropping out from the educational system because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. That is why the Education Ministry has wanted the states or directed the states to relax the dropouts to prevent the kind of the dropouts which have been taken up because of the COVID-19 situation, which has disrupted the teaching and learning process. And the ministry, education ministry, has come up with the guidelines, and they have prepared so that they would ensure that the school going children would have access to education. So the access to education will also be the education with quality and education with equity. Along with the quality and equity education, the guidelines would also prepared to minimize the impact of the pandemic on the school education across the country. And now we will look at the various measures which have been taken up by the Education Ministry to make sure that there would be a minimal dropouts because of the disruption caused to the learning and teaching methods or experience in the education because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So we will focus at the measures by the education ministers. So there is an awareness and enrollment drives which have been taken up by the education ministry, and this would ensure that the children would return back to the school system which has been impacted because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And as soon as the schools reopen, the physical or the offline classes would start. And when it starts, students may need the bridge courses. So there is a necessity for the bridge courses to be started up once the schools reopens slowly. And the reason why the bridge courses have to be started is to make sure that the students get adjusted to the school environment which they have missed almost for 10 months. And there should be a remedial learning programs taken up by the schools so that the remedial learning programs would mitigate the learning loss and inequality which the students have experienced because of the lockdown or because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, which has impacted the teaching and learning process of the Indian education system. And the other measure is identifying the students across different grades or standards, and identifying would be done based on the learning levels, and also relaxing the detention norms so that the government of India would prevent the dropouts in the year 2020-21. And there would also be an awareness measure taken up on the COVID-19 appropriate behavior once the school slowly reopens. And the other measure is the need to increase the access to online and digital resources, so that there need to be an resources which would be aptly necessary to have an increased access to the online and digital resources, so that the online and digital infrastructure has to be increased. And there will be a televisions and radios which will be part of the online and digital courses. And they would also come up, the other measure is the classes in small groups, and this is called as classrooms on wheels. So there would be a measure wherein a classroom would be on wheels, and this would be in the process of exploring, so that pandemic has abated many areas, so that there is not much of the digital infrastructure, or there is a digital divide infrastructure. Because of that, the measure is classes in small groups at classroom on wheels. And the other measure by the education minister is for children who cannot go to schools. The ministry has offered guidelines for continuation of non-residential training. This is the keyword. So going ahead with the non-residential training, it would be through the volunteers, local teachers, and community participation. So these are the measures taken up by the education ministry, so that there would be less dropouts or minimal dropouts because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And this can be part of your education in the general essay, how the education ministry has taken directives to relax the detention norms, directing the states so that they would prevent the dropouts. So we have looked at the globally what the United Nations is estimating the dropouts of the children's being at risk because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and what is the various access the online classes are being taken up in India, and what are the guidelines by the education ministry, so that there would be guidelines and measures taken by the education ministry to ensure that the children's return to school system as soon as the school reopens. So we have looked at the measures, and you can take these measures as part of your short notes for the mains examinations. And now we will look at the another news which talks about the tax evasion. So the Delhi High Court has upheld, or it has welcomed, a controversial provision in the CGST Act, that is Central Goods and Services Tax Act. So what is the controversial provisions we will look at, which the Delhi High Court has welcomed it, that the as per the CGST Act, it gives the power to the authorities of the goods and services tax authorities to arrest any person if there is a reason to believe that an individual or else a firm has committed a tax evasion. So one who has been a defaulter and evaded the tax, so the CGST Act gives the power to the authorities to arrest a person whenever they feel that there is a reason to believe that a firm or an individual has committed a tax evasion. So the Delhi High Court has welcomed the provisions of the CGST Act, and the bench has given the decision because a petition was filed and the petition was challenged to the sections of section 69 and section 132 of the CGST Act, which are the provisions of the CGST Act which empowers the authorities to arrest a person if they are being committed to tax evasion. And the petitioner here, who was facing an action for allegedly availing a fraudulent IGST refund, so he was in the kind of allegedly availing the refund of through the IGST, integrated goods and services tax, and input tax credits. So because of the fraudulence of IGST refund and input tax credits which the petitioner or a man and a firm were facing an action based on the section 69, here the petitioner has filed or challenged, saying that this section 69 and section 132, which is power to arrest and punishment for certain offences respectively, the petitioner says that these sections are criminal in nature. So the petitioner says that these sections of 69 and 132 of the CGST Act are criminal in nature, and it could not have been enacted under Article 246A of the Indian Constitution, which is pertaining to the IGST or GST Act. So here the keywords which we need to focus is that the section 69 and section 132 of CGST Act. Section 69 talks about the power to arrest an individual who has committed the tax evasion, and section 132 talks about the punishment for certain offences, and Article 246A of the Indian Constitution, which is pertaining to the GST Act. But the Delhi High Court has also ruled that the Parliament has power to legislate, the power to arrest and prosecute any individual, or it could be any ancillary, and it has the power to levy and collect the goods and services tax. So here the Parliament has the power to levy and collect the goods and services tax, as well as it has the power to arrest and prosecute the one who is evading the taxes. That is what the Delhi High Court has welcomed the provisions of the IGST, that is section 69 and section 132 of the CGST, saying that the Parliament has the power to levy and collect the goods and services tax, and it does also have the power to arrest and prosecute the one who is evading the taxes. And the court has also opined that section 69 and 132 of the CGST Act are constitutional, and it falls within the legislative competence of Parliament, that it is not criminal in nature, which the petitioner is challenging about the section 69 and section 132 of the CGST Act. And the Delhi High Court has also remarked that there is a scope of Article 246 of A, which is significantly wide. So the scope of Article 246A is significantly wide, and it says that Article 246A does not only empowers the Parliament and state legislatures to levy and enact the GST tax, but the Article 246A also grants the power to make all laws respect to GST, wherein the power to make all laws could be, or it is, the power to arrest and prosecute the one who are evading the taxes, and that would be part of section 69 or under section 69 and 132 of the CGST Act, wherein the power authorities have the power to arrest and prosecute them. So this is the one, it is in regards to the economy, you can focus it, and also part of the polity. So we have economy in regards to the GST or CGST and IGST, and in regards to the polity we were talking about the Article 246A, which the Parliament or the Parliament and the state legislatures can levy and enact the GST tax, and also has the power to make all laws, that is to arrest and prosecute an individual. And the another news which we'll discuss is in regards to the border dispute. And this border dispute, we have seen that between India and Nepal, and the relations between India and Nepal has been deteriorated because of the border dispute between India and Nepal, that is because of the Kalapani on Lipu Lake and Limpi Yadura, wherein government of India has come up with a new political map, which it has included Kalapani part of our Indian territory. So that again there was a tit for tat, wherein Nepal has come up with the new political map, which has been passed in both the houses of the Nepal, showing the Kalapani, Lipu Lake and Limpu Yadura, which are part of the Pithogarh district, Pithogarh area of Pithogarh district of the Uttarakhand state, to be part of the Nepal territory as a new Nepal political map. So there was the situation or the scenario was tense between India and Nepal because of the border dispute. But we have seen of late that both the countries were trying to have a diplomatic talks so that the tension would be reduced between India and Nepal and resolve or discuss the border disputes. And Nepal, that is Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma, only wants equity based friendship. So this is the keyword or the key phrase which is crucial for the prelims as well as mains examination, that Nepal Prime Minister, while he was addressing an extraordinary session of the upper house of the Nepal Parliament, has made it very clear that Nepal wants equality based friendship with India. And he also made or said that the Nepal Foreign Minister Pradeep Kumar Gyawali would visit India so that there would be a discussion between India and Nepal at the foreign minister level to discuss the dispute related to the border and various other issues. And the Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, has also said that as there was the dissolution of lower house, that is Pratinidhi Sabha in Nepal, so he said that the dissolution of the lower house, that is Pratinidhi Sabha, was necessary, and he says that he would seek a fresh political mandate, and he would seek a fresh political mandate to ensure stability in Nepal. And the announcement of the foreign prime minister of Nepal, Gwali, would visit India has put an end that there were lot of speculation about the breakthrough which would really help to revive the bilateral relations or the friendly relations between India and Nepal, wherein the relations were badly hit because of the Kalapani territorial dispute. So Kalapani is an area or a place which is a territorial dispute for long period between India and Nepal. And this dispute has erupted or started between India and Nepal because India has published a new political map. Please do understand, it is not the Nepal which has initially started publishing a new political map. No, it is first India which has published a new political map in the month of November 2019, and thereby when it has published, it has included Kalapani as part of the Pitrugarh district of Uttarakhand. So you have Kalapani here, as it is a territorial dispute between India and Nepal, but India has published a new political map in November 2019, that is after we have seen on August 5th 2019 the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, and then bifurcating the Jammu and Kashmir state into two new union territories, that is Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. After that, just after a month, India has come up with the new political map, wherein it has also included Kalapani as part of the Pitrugarh district. But it is certainly that Kalapani is a territorial dispute between India and Nepal, and this has prompted Nepal to introduce a new political map, and thereby the new political map of Nepal has claimed, or it has included, Kalapani, Lipu Lake and Limpu Yadura, these three places as part of new political map of Nepal. And also this Kalapani, Lipu Lake and Limpu Yadura are part of the Pitrugarh district of Uttarakhand. So this was the territorial dispute, but because the Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, while addressing the upper house of Nepal, has said that Nepal wants equality based friendship with India. So this is a positive note in regards to the India with the neighboring countries, that is India and Nepal, that is having a friendly or a bilateral relationship between India and Nepal. And the another news which we would look at is Vanadium Source. Here the keyword is vanadium. So vanadium is the keyword source or the keyword which we would be discussing, which the Geological Survey of India has explored the vanadium. So what is vanadium? It is a high value metal which is used in strengthening of steel and titanium. So this is the keyword which we are talking about. Vanadium would be a crucial information for prelims of UPSC perspective. So the GSI or Geological Survey of India has explored vanadium in Arunachal Pradesh. Actually, Arunachal Pradesh is considered as a sleeping hydropower giant. This is the keyword. So Arunachal Pradesh, which is considered as a sleeping hydropower giant, is now likely to become India's prime producer of vanadium. You look at it, which is now considered or currently considered as a sleeping hydropower giant, is likely to become India's prime producer of vanadium. Which state? Arunachal Pradesh. Because the GSI explored that the eastern Himalayan state is now on the vanadium map of India, and the geologist, that is part of the Geological Survey of India, the geologists are confident of identifying the deposits in Arunachal Pradesh. And India is certainly a significant consumer of vanadium because this high level metal is used in strengthening steel and titanium. But it is a significant consumer, but it is not a primary producer of vanadium. But because the geologists have identified or explored the vanadium in Arunachal Pradesh, so certainly India, as it is a significant consumer, would also become a primary producer of the strategic metal, that is the high value metal vanadium, which is used in strengthening steel and titanium. And vanadium is recovered as a byproduct from the slag. So what do you mean by slag? It is a waste material which is collected from the processing of vanadiferous magnetite ores, that is iron ore. So how is vanadium processed or it is recovered? It is a byproduct. Vanadium is a byproduct from the waste material which is collected while processing vanadiferous magnetite ores, that is iron ore. When the processing of iron ore takes, and the byproduct of the processing of vanadiferous magnetite ores is the vanadium. So vanadium is a byproduct of vanadiferous magnetite ores, which is also very crucial for prelims UPSC perspective. And GSI specialist geologists have said that there are promising concentration of vanadium in the Palacea Proterozoic carbonaceous phyllite rocks. So it is present in which rocks? So there are high promising concentration of vanadium in Paleo Proterozoic carbonaceous phyllite rocks, which are present in Depot and Tamang areas of the Papumpere district of Arunachal Pradesh. So this is again a prelims perspective, which could be part of which among the following statements are incorrect in regards to the vanadium. So this concentration of vanadium is present as per the geologist in the Paleo Proterozoic carbonaceous phyllite rocks, which are present in Depot and Tamang areas of Papumpere districts in Arunachal Pradesh. And this is for the first time a report has come up of the primary deposits of vanadium in India. And this deposit of vanadium in India is an average grade of 0.76 percentage of V205. So what is the V205? Chemical name of V20 of vanadium pentoxide. So vanadium pentoxide is the average grade, which is now the first report of primary deposit of vanadium in India. And the high vanadium content is associated with graphite and with a carbon content. So the carbon content, which is up to 16 percentage, is of high vanadium content, which has graphite plus carbon of 16 percentage. So this again, this proportionate is also important information for the prelims perspective. And if we look at we were talking about the areas, that is Depot and Tamang areas in Papumpere district of Arunachal Pradesh. So it is having the concentration in Depot and Tamang areas of Papumpere district of Arunachal Pradesh. So if you look at the map, it is this district of Arunachal Pradesh, Papumpere, wherein the geologists of Geological Survey of India have identified the concentration of vanadium in the district that is called as Papumpere. So it is adjoining or it borders Assam state also. So it is a district which is adjoining, it is part of Arunachal Pradesh which is bordering Assam. So you have various other districts in this map which I did try to portray to you all. So you have the Tawang district, which is also, you have a pass wherein Chinese have incursion into India, and you have Upper Subansiri, Lower Subansiri, which is adjoining or borders to Papumpere, and it is in regards to the vanadium, the concentration which has been geologists explored at the district Papumpere of Arunachal Pradesh, which borders Assam state. And according to the data which is been provided by GSI, India consumed 4%, that is about 84,000 tons of vanadium produced across globally in the year 2017, and China has consumed 44%, and it produces 57% of world's vanadium, which is also a crucial information part of vanadium. And vanadium mineralization in Arunachal Pradesh is similar geographically to the stone coal, which is a vanadium deposit of China, which is in the carbonaceous shale which is present in China, which is as similar, vanadium is as similar to the stone coal which is deposits in China, which is part of again carbonaceous shale in China. The expected grade of vanadium in Arunachal Pradesh is comparable to the important vanadium deposits in the world. And if you look at the largest deposits of vanadium is first in China, then followed by Russia, and then South Africa. So this is the crucial information which is in regards to the Geological Survey of India, or the geologists have explored the vanadium in Arunachal Pradesh, which is a high value metal used in strengthening of steel and titanium. And the another news which talks about is the private investments in manufacturing. So in the manufacturing sector, we have seen the surge of private investments in the third quarter of 2020-21, and this rise of private investments in the manufacturing sector has surged to 102%, and this surge of private investments in manufacturing sectors have helped India to register a healthy 10.3% increase in the fresh project spending. So this is a keyword. So almost 10.3% increase of fresh project spending in the quarter 3 of the fiscal year of 2020-21 is because of the private investments in the manufacturing sector. But if you look at the government, or the new capital expenditure by the government has collapsed in the month of October and December 2020, and this has made various states that there was a dragging or a down of new project investments because of the capital expenditures by the government. So if you look at comparing with the government or new capital expenditure with the private investments have increased, but if you look at the government capital expenditures have decreased, and this has impacted or dragged the new project investments in infrastructure development or in the manufacturing sector. And this manufacturing sector private investments have surged, have increased. So along with the manufacturing sectors, utility sector and mining sectors have recorded a growth or increase in the private investments. But if you look at the investments in the electricity has collapsed or it has shrunk, and even in the irrigation the private investments have decreased. And if you look at the which among the following states, or which are the states which have the highest investments in regards to the new project investments between October and November, is Maharashtra is the top, followed by Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and you have the 10 states which are part of the project investments between October and November, and Maharashtra tops, and the 10th one is the Chhattisgarh, and the 4th one is the Tamil Nadu, followed by 5th Odisha, UP, Karnataka, Telangana and Punjab, and the 10th one is the Chhattisgarh. And if you look at the Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh, only accounts or constitutes for 30% of the new project investments between October and December 2020. So certainly this is a positive trend which we have seen a continued rise in the private investments, but there is a collapse in the new capital expenditure, government expenditure proposals, and this is a cause of concern. And now we'll focus at the recapitulating of the DNA. So we have looked at the education point of view, the education ministry relaxing the detention norms to prevent the dropouts, and this is in regards to the economy we have seen, and also in regards to the polity because of article 242A, and this is in regards to the Guwahati to discuss border dispute. It is in regards to the India Nepal bilateral relationships, which is part of international relations between mains examination UPSC perspective. And this is Geological Survey of India, which has come up with the exploration of new or high metal strategic metal which is used in strengthening steel and titanium, that is vanadium. And Q3 investments have jumped in, especially in the private investments in the manufacturing, utilities, but it has reduced in the government new expenditure, that is in the new project. This is being discussed as part of the economy. So we have focused from prelims as well as mains perspective, which we have discussed as macro and micro level, and I hope this session was helpful, informative and knowledgeable one to all the civil servant aspirants. So I would say a very big thank you to all and the best of luck. And then do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video and subscribe the AKS IAS English Medium YouTube channel, and also have access to the website and to the Telegram link of AKS, that is Advanced Knowledge System. And then see you tomorrow with the daily news analysis. Till then, goodbye, thank you, take care.